militants there, because after all they have families also. And don't ever think that those who were involved in this operation didn't feel remorse or pity or sadness or sorrow. They did for whatever happened. No one likes to kill. No one likes to destroy. No one likes to hurt.
What impact has this had on you personally?
It is an enormous impact. Once you put on your uniform, you have to accept these things. You have to accept the fact that there will be ups and there will be downs.
But was this a price worth paying?
I don't know. I really don't know.
General Brar is clearly critical of Bhindranwale. In fact, I did meet other Sikhs who felt Bhindranwale should not have been in the Golden Temple complex in the first place, but they weren't prepared to say that on camera. Bhindranwale still has passionate supporters who see him as a martyr and are unhappy with any criticism of their dead leader. Close to the Golden Temple, I came across a bookstall selling all kinds of Bhindranwale memorabilia. What does it say on the back of his T-shirt there?
It's written Bhindranwale Babbar Shera.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
18. And is Bhindranwale a hero for you?
Yeah. He was a great saint and great soldier.
How are you connecting with what he says?
By reading books, by listening from other people. So, you are Indian?
I'm Indian, yes.
You believe in Mahatma Gandhi? You were not at the time of Mahatma Gandhi, but you say that he is the father of a nation. Why? By listening, by reading books. So same as that. Same with me.
As a Sikh boy today, is anyone attacking your faith?
Attacking? Not personally, but in schools people attack.
But you personally haven't seen anything yourself? Although Satnam feels a sense of injustice, he's clearly struggling to find any evidence to back it up. I'm encouraged that things have changed a great deal since 1984.
Swords of protest in London. The Sikhs show their anger over Amritsar.
The assault on the Golden Temple stunned India and the world. In Britain, there were large demonstrations denouncing Mrs. Gandhi.
Several effigies of the Indian Prime Minister attracted the full force of the demonstrators' fury.
A community that had been almost invisible was suddenly on the streets and making headlines. I have vague memories of seeing these scenes as an 11-year-old. Then they confused me. Now I understand them. In Amritsar, the military action may have ended, but the tragic story of 1984 was far from over. A few weeks after Operation Blue Star, a policeman called Beyant Singh brought his family to the Golden Temple, and he was so shocked by what he saw that he became withdrawn and more devout. The significance of this is that Beyant Singh was Indira Gandhi's personal bodyguard. Beyant Singh had travelled with the Prime Minister around the world and was one of the most trusted members of her security team. But the events of June so outraged him that he began to plan Indira Gandhi's assassination. Although his superiors knew nothing of the plot, they were still nervous about having Sikhs so close to the Prime Minister, so they were moved from her protection team. Mrs. Gandhi strongly opposed the change, and so Sikh guards remained on duty.
Do you now fear for your own personal safety?
Well, I've lived with danger all my life, and I think I've had a pretty full life, and it makes no difference whether you die in bed or you die standing up.
On the morning of the 31st of October, Indira Gandhi left her home in Delhi to take part in a TV interview. As she walked along the path, she saw Beyant Singh on duty and smiled. He drew his revolver and fired 5 shots at close range. An accomplice, Satwant Singh, opened fire with a machine gun. Mrs. Gandhi spun round from the impact and crumpled to the floor.
We regret to announce the death of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi.
Beyant Singh was shot dead on the spot, and his accomplice, Satwant Singh, wounded. He was later tried and executed. I'm confused about Indira Gandhi. It could be argued that Operation Blue Star showed she had little regard for the Sikh faith, and yet she retained her Sikh bodyguards against advice.
But at present you hold no political office, you hold...
Mark Tully knew Mrs Gandhi well, having interviewed her many times. How did he explain her decision to keep her bodyguards?
Well, I think this was Indira Gandhi wanting desperately to show that she was not an enemy of the Sikh community and wanting very much to do whatever she could to calm the thing down again after Operation Blue Star.
But can you understand why some people see Indira Gandhi's action as an attack on the Sikh faith?
Yes, of course I can understand the deep sorrow, horror of Sikhs. I mean, I know that if someone came and started firing at St Paul's Cathedral in London, I know the way that I would feel. But I do think that also Sikhs should realise that mistakes were made on both sides and that there was a great deal of violence going on, violence done by Bhindranwale's men.
In 1948, when Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated, India was stunned. But the fact that the killer was one of their own meant there wasn't a violent reaction from Hindus. But in '84, when the news quickly emerged that Indira Gandhi's killers were Sikh, the world held its breath. How would Hindus now respond?
As Mrs Gandhi lay dead in a Delhi hospital, a married couple called Jarnail Singh and Mahinder Kaur set off by train from the Punjab with their baby daughter to start a new life in Mumbai. They carried with them all their possessions and ambitious hopes for the future. They had no idea that Mrs Gandhi had been assassinated and were heading straight for trouble.
Train te jadon tusi chade si bahut khush hone
बहुत खुश सीगे ਉੱਥੇ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰ ਵੀ ਮਿਲ ਗਏ ਬੜੇ ਖੁਸ਼-ਖੁਸ਼ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿ ਰੇਲਵੇ 'ਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਫਿਰ ਰਸਤੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਸ਼ ਪਲਟ ਗਿਆ
ਆ ਫੋਟੋ
ਆ ਮੇਰਾ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ
ट्रेन तो चढ़न ते एक दिन पहला
ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ 31 ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਖਿੱਚੀ ਗਈ ਸੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਚੰਗੇ ਸੀ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਮੇਰੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਿਫਤ ਕਰ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੀ ਕਿ ਇੰਨਾ ਚੰਗੇ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਸੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ
After 7 hours, the train stopped at a station outside Delhi. Suddenly, a mob surrounded them and surged into the carriage.
ਫਾਲੋ ਲਾ ਲਾ ਕਰਤੀ
ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ
ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਂ ਮਾਰਤੀ ਹੈ ਖੂਨ ਦਾ ਬਦਲਾ ਖੂਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਗੜੀ ਵੱਧੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਸੀਗੇ ਤੇ ਸੀਟ ਤੇ ਬਸ ਬੈਠਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਰੀਆ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਸਿਰ 'ਚ ਖੂਨ ਵਗਣ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਸਿਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਖੂਨ ਜਾਣ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਮਹਿੰਦਰ ਕੋਲ ਹੁਣ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਘਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਤੇ ਪਰ ਬਚਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੜ ਕੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੀਟਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੱਡੀ ਦੀ ਸੀਟ ਦੇ ਥੱਲੇ ਲੰਮਾ ਪਾਇਆ ਉਹ ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਫਿਰ ਸਮਾਨ ਲੁੱਟਣ ਆਏ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਫਿਰ ਲੈ ਗਏ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਖੋਹ ਕੇ ਲੈ ਗਏ ਅਸੀਂ ਖੋਹਨੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੋਂਦੇ ਆ ਖਪਦੇ ਖੋਹਨੇ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਣਾ
One Sikh mother in Mahinder's carriage saved her son's life by quickly tying his long hair into plaits so the mob would think that he was a girl. But the mob were not fooled by Mahinder's attempts to hide Gurmej between the seats. They dragged him onto the platform.
ਉੱਪਰ ਲੰਮੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਪਏ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਲੈ ਗਏ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੂਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਲਦੀ ਵੇਖੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਜਲਦੀ ਪਤਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਫੋਟੋ ਤਾਂ ਮੜਾਉਣੀ ਆ ਜੇ ਫੋਟੋ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਆਏਗੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਆ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਜੱਜਮੈਂਟ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਫੋਟੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਫੋਟੋ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਹੋਈ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੜਾਉਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਮੜਾਉਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਚਨ ਸੀ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇਖੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਮੜਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ
It's been a difficult time for Mahinder. Since 1984, she's raised her daughter alone. But recently, after a long battle, she's raised her daughter alone. She received some compensation from the government for Gamej's death, and her daughter is now married. At last, joy has come into Mahinder's life.
Can you just tell us where we're going?
To try and understand how the terrible violence began, I'm with Ashok Vahi, a news photographer based in New Delhi. In 1984, he was at the hospital where Indira Gandhi was taken to get shots of the crowd outside. But then he came across a very different story.
Firstly, it was not allowed to go inside the hospital. Then one of the hospital security has come. He knows me. Then he said, hey, listen, you can have a very good picture that some of the Sikh boys, young boys, are inside the casualty. Emergency. I went inside, immediately I made my camera and took one, two shot took.
What Ashok had discovered was a group of terrified young men, beaten and robbed of their turbans. News had got out that Mrs. Gandhi's killers were Sikhs, and a mob was out for revenge.
Is that blood on his shirt?
Yeah, that is blood. Now you can see their faces. See this boy. See their eyes. How they feel. If we go out, huge crowd is there, they will be again attacked by public.
As the rioting spread across Delhi, a friend who just arrived by train from the Punjab called Ashok and told him to get to the station as soon as possible. What Ashok saw there appalled him. No longer just beating, the mobs were now killing. The picture he took was printed in newspapers around the world.
I've just spoken, Ashok, to a woman who lost her husband on a train coming in from Punjab. Her husband was dragged from the train.
Yeah.
This could be the train.
Yeah.
As a Hindu,
Yeah.
seeing all of this happening for the first time in your life,
Yeah, that is the first time in my life.
how did that make you feel?
I feel and I pray this will not happen again anymore in this country.
But then Ashok went from observing the drama to being part of it. On the evening of the 1st of November, a Sikh friend called Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale came to Ashok, too terrified to go home. He realised that the only option was to hide his friend in his tiny dark room.
Yeah, in the night we put some newspapers.
You just put some newspapers for him to sleep on?
Yeah. It's very small, but whether it is a big or whether it is a small, we have to manage, we have to save his life.
So how long did you keep him in this very tiny space for?
2 days.
Did you have any moments where you nearly got caught out?
Yeah, it was a 1 or 2 times there was a chances when the mob came outside my office and they are trying to burn one Sikh shop here.
What would have happened if somebody had found out?
He can be shot dead. He can be beaten like anything because people are very scared.
So standing in this space after 25 years, how does it make you feel talking about this?
I feel proud of me that I have saved one life. I have saved my friend's life. I'm proud of me.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You.
Thankfully, Ashok was one of many Hindus whose first thought was to protect Sikh friends and neighbours.
The attacks didn't just happen in central Delhi, where Ashok was. The mobs wanted to kill in greater numbers, so they headed to the outskirts of Delhi, areas like Trilokpuri and Mongolpuri. That's where the Sikh communities lived.
Almost every family has a story of murder, burning and beating.
He was burned alive in the garage along with the car.
At their local Gurdwara, I met 3 men who'd all lost loved ones. Inside is a painting depicting the horrors of the mob violence. The local Sikh community had described their ordeal to a painter, and slowly a macabre picture was created.
ਇਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ ਅੱਗ ਲਾਈ ਹੋਈ ਏ